Hello, I'm Don Mooers. Welcome to Montgomery Week in Review. Montgomery Housing Partnership, known as MHP, has been working wonders on the issue of housing for people in need throughout our community. It's been in operation for many years now. Robert Goldman, Executive Director of MHP, will tell us where the county stands now on this important issue of affordable housing. CASA. We used to know as CASA de Maryland, but CASA has grown and grown and grown. CASA has been a presence in this region for many years as it meets the needs of immigrants as well as U.S.-born individuals. Ana Martinez, an organizer for CASA, will explain the current issues in Montgomery County regarding young people who the country has come to know as dreamers. When cold weather hits our community and endangers people who desperately need shelter, Interfaith Works is there, doing what it can to meet this important challenge. Christine Hong from Interfaith Works will give us the details on the organization's efforts to help those in need who are homeless. February is National Heart Health Welfare Month, I guess just National Heart Month. And CCI Health and Wellness Services is providing information to help all of us keep our hearts working properly and keep us otherwise healthy. José Luis Diaz will tell us what's happening in February's Health Month. Rob, welcome.
Well, thank you. Glad to be here.
MHP, you guys work so hard. Real brief, if you could just tell us about MHP, because I want to get into this affordable housing, especially workforce housing issues.
We were started in 1989 by a guy named Norman Christeller, and our mission is about developing affordable housing, but we do it in a very comprehensive way. So it's about housing people, providing, building new apartment buildings or acquiring older ones and fixing them up. But it's also about empowering the residents that live at our properties with after-school programs for the kids, adult programs, computer classes, health promotion activities. And then we strengthen the neighborhoods around where affordable housing is located through neighborhood revitalization activities.
Well, Norman Christeller, one of the giants, the pillars of Montgomery County, proud to all of this happening, looking from far away these days now. But as you continue on Norman's legacy, what are the biggest challenges right now for you? As you know, the county's doing so well, and I would think those who are really need housing, it's getting more and more difficult as they get squeezed out.
Yep, it's a very difficult time. I mean, prices have been going up dramatically. On the one hand, we've been very lucky. The Leggett administration has been very supportive of affordable housing, has put money so we could buy buildings. That we bought a building that was vacant in Tacoma Park. It's hard to imagine in Montgomery County vacant buildings. We've preserved important buildings that were going to be lost. But most importantly, we were able to use county-owned land that was going to be used for a library. And they said, well, we also have some extra land. Let's put some affordable housing there. And so we were able to build 149 units of senior housing right next to the new Silver Spring Library. So there's been some exciting things, but the challenge is ahead. I mean, you've got the Purple Line coming in the Long Branch area. That's a major concern. Mm-hmm. As soon as the Purple Line opens, or even before, landlords are going to raise their rent. You have a new amenity. You have a transportation thing. They didn't do anything to their building, but they have a new amenity, and they're going to take advantage of it. And then over the longer term, people are going to start to redevelop those sites, those older garden-style apartments. We already see that in other parts of the county. Right. Mm-hmm. Now it's going to hit Long Branch, where they're going to knock those buildings down, and they're going to build higher density, high-rise luxury buildings, and people are going to be displaced. And Long Branch is a unique community with a very good mix of residents, and we've seen this around the country and other jurisdictions that have opened up light rails and things like that.
So what could residents do to help the mission?
A lot of it is advocacy, and it's just we're at an important time now. We're fortunate that we went from Doug Duncan to Ike Leggett, and Duncan was a supporter of affordable housing. Ike Leggett took on that mantle and took it even further. Now we've got a new county executive race, and we got to make sure that affordable housing is part of the conversation, and that the new county executive continues to fund affordable housing, continues to make it a high priority. Otherwise, we lose that opportunity. The other thing to consider, I think a lot of people are very focused right now about Amazon coming to Montgomery County and recruiting businesses. But, to get businesses to come, they're also thinking about, well, how are my employees going to be able to afford to live here? And while maybe Amazon has mostly 100,000 and up employees, there's also the support staff and other folks, and they need a place to live. And if we got $5 billion we can give out, maybe we can carve a small piece for affordable housing.
But your issue comes in where jobs are aplenty, but I know at the Fed, they're scratching their head that when we see low unemployment rates, we should be seeing higher wages, and that hasn't happened. And your clients are really the ones who are squeezed the most, right?
Absolutely.
Because their wages aren't going up,
exactly.
while at the same time the cost of living is going up, and
Absolutely.
and they're all working around the clock.
Yeah, exactly. We have many families who are working 2 to 3 jobs, and one of the reasons we have our after-school programs, not only to provide academic support, but have a place for kids to go after school because their parents are working, and otherwise they potentially can get in trouble and do other things. So these families have a lot of challenges, and it's a trade-off. They're choosing between food, clothing, paying the rent,
Right.
a health crisis. All those things come together, and it's like, how do they find the right balance?
So we need to move the conversation towards equity. Talk about equity. How do we bring equity to the county? How do we make everyone have an opportunity to reach
30
goals?
seconds left in the segment.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's all about providing opportunity. And it's one of the reasons I think Montgomery Housing Partnership is really key on those programs, not just with the housing, but also giving residents an opportunity to succeed, and giving that through whether it's job skills or computer skills, getting the kids to better readers and better at math so that they have the opportunity to compete with everybody else.
Rob, you've been slugging this out for years now. The legacy of the Legg administration you're very, very high on. Looking ahead at the next county executive, you're hopeful on. Real quick, are we getting there where we need to be? 5 seconds.
Yes, we're barely. I mean, I think we have a lot. We have a lot to do. Big challenges ahead. With the right emphasis and priorities, I think we can get there. But it's a big challenge.
Thanks, Rob. Appreciate it. Anna, welcome. Your first time on the show.
Yes, it is.
It is great to have you, and it is what a wonderful organization, CASA. Please, for all of us, give Gustavo and that great team, your head, the founder, all our regards, all the best. Dreamers. Mm-hmm. What touching stories, and yet so much uncertainty right now. CASA has been at the forefront on DACA, on Dreamers. Tell us a little bit. Give us an update on the situation vis-a-vis Montgomery County.
Sure. So right now it's been a really painful situation. A few months ago, President Trump canceled the program of DACA, which is 800,000 folks more nationwide. And
before we do that, let me make sure that we understand correctly what's going on. These are kids who were brought by their parents to the United States. As I understand it, many of them, they only know the United States.
Exactly, that's very true. So we're talking about folks that are my age and a lot younger. We're also talking about high school students. We have some folks that, as you said, have never been to the country that they were born in. English is their primary language. They might speak Spanish with their parents, but they don't have it fluently for them to be taken out of their living situation and been thrown to a country that they don't know anything about.
And President Obama, gave them special protections so they would be exempt from deportation, have a temporary work permit, with the idea being, as I understand it, a holding place so that Congress and a future president could step up and help them.
Exactly. It was an opportunity for them to start having dreams, right? That they can go to school, that they can have jobs, that they can take care of their family. And what happened instead of getting more a policy that can really help this community, Trump decided to cancel it all. So leaving all this bunch of young folks in limbo, not knowing if they can support their family, not knowing if they could get deported. And what's happening is that it's increasing anxiety and depression within our community. A lot of our members, they've been diagnosed with depression within the last few months because it's the fact that you can just be thrown into a country with just like that. Right. Really has a huge impact.
You know, during the debate, Congress, some people were saying there's no urgency to act today. We can wait till March or even. What would your response to that be? What is the urgency for Congress to act today or the next 2 weeks?
So the reality is that people's permits are already expiring. So we have 122 folks that are losing their DACA on a daily basis. So we already have folks that can't provide for the families that they've lost everything. So we can't wait. That's the reality. They need something stable, and it's going to continue. So every single day until March, more folks are going to lose that opportunity to support themselves as well as their family.
And it affects the people that actually depend on these folks
Exactly.
that are staff members and things like that, that are not going to be available to carry out functions.
And that's very true. Just to, like, we think about that it's 800,000 folks that are impacted, but that's directly, we're not thinking about the indirect impact. So we're talking about 800,000 families that are helping their siblings, that are helping their parents, and also how the impact it has within our community. So there's a lot of folks that they're teachers. I've spoken to teachers and social workers that it pains them that when they go to their classrooms, they see kids who are crying because they are at risk of concerns about, that they could lose everything.
Well, I think I read stories, as I'm sure all of us do. Well, not just the students in the classroom, you're talking about the teachers and the students, but we have a lot of DACA recipients who are teachers.
Yeah, that's
and are
very
lawyers
true.
and are doctors, and all this is from what I've seen.
Exactly,
but
nurses.
But aren't we sitting on the globe? I mean, don't we have an amazing advantage of these kids who are bicultural, multicultural, multilingual? Shouldn't we be nurturing them? Because aren't they going to be our most valuable players as we're trying to operate in a global economy?
We should, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of amazing folks that, because of the circumstance, they had to grow up a little bit younger, and they're doing the best. As we mentioned, we have some that are nurses that have gone to the medical field that have really contributed and are really trying to do the best for this area and in the Montgomery County area.
And it's so important because we always talk about having people that have an understanding of cultural diversity, that are aware of the difficulties that come when you're dealing with folks from so many parts of the world like we have here in Montgomery County, and that's a very important and valuable tool that we should not dismiss.
About 15 seconds left. Are you hopeful at this point that there'll be a resolution, or do you think it's just going to be talk, talk, talk?
At the moment, there's been a lot of back and forth, but we're going to give it our all. You know, a lot of folks, they don't have the privilege to give up. You know, this is their life. So for sure, we're going to give it our push. We want more dreamers to come forward and share their stories, because that's really what's going to make the difference.
All right, Ana, keep pushing, keep leading. Appreciate it for all of us. We have to take a break right now. We'll be right back. And we're back. Christine Hong, Interfaith Works, directing the homeless outreach efforts. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about the important work that you're doing, because we don't often, Montgomery County is not associated with homeless all the time. That's somebody else's issue. But it's our issue, isn't it?
Oh, it's a huge issue. Yesterday, we just did the point-in-time count. It's an annual count of homeless that every jurisdiction across the country does every winter. And every year in Montgomery County, there are approximately 1,000 who are homeless on the street every night that we find out during the point-in-time count.
Right.
It fluctuates up and down, but it is a huge problem. And in Montgomery County, it's hidden because you don't see the homeless. They're not in plain sight oftentimes. And so it's very important that providers such as Interfaith Works provide the shelter, housing, and supportive services to enable homeless individuals and families to lift themselves out of poverty. And that is what we do. And in addition to that, when we see extreme cold weather, as we have for the past weeks, Interfaith Works has an overflow shelter which opens to the homeless who are on the street so that they can come in out of the cold and are not in danger of dying from hypothermia, which is a real problem.
Where is that shelter?
The shelter is located in Silver Spring at Progress Place, which is a county-owned building, and that is where our seasonal shelter is that I just mentioned, as well as our day program, which offers case management and vocational counseling and basic needs like showers, laundry, clothing. So it's really a one-stop shop for individuals who are unsheltered to get the support and help they need to eventually stabilize and get housing.
You know, going up and down Georgia Avenue, people drive right by there every day. And a lot of the residents, temporary residents, are out by the firehouse there. But I don't think people give again, in this community, not a lot of thoughts going in that direction. You've got your network of faith institutions.
Yes.
How do you try to mobilize? How do you get folks to focus on this continuing challenge?
Yes, our faith communities and different partners, they contribute to our work. They support our work in a variety of different ways. They make donations. They bring meals to our shelters. At our women's shelter in Rockville, all of the meals, 3 times a day, 365 days a year, are provided by our faith partners, our other partners throughout the community. So we're really proud of that legacy, and it continues in all the work that we do at Interfaith Works.
What are the challenges? I mean, I come from it from a permanent housing perspective. So what are the challenges of moving folks from homelessness towards permanent housing?
Yeah, there are a lot of challenges, especially for the chronically homeless, and the county is aiming to end chronic homelessness by the end of this March. So it's a big goal, and we're close. And so one of the challenges is helping individuals who have been homeless for years oftentimes, lowering the barriers to them accessing housing. And when we do lower those barriers, we have found great success in helping them move directly from the street sometimes to a new home. So it's a really exciting process, but the support of our teams and our staff is absolutely essential because it's a big step to take.
Yeah, I think it's called the housing first model, where we
Yes.
get them into housing, then wrap them around the services
Yes.
from there. It's great.
Yeah, I saw there was a report that just came out where a full 20% of the population, the working population, are contractors, no benefits.
Right.
You know, they're and living sort of the contract could be gone in a day or two. So we're that close, aren't we, to maybe losing housing, being homeless? And we got about a minute left.
Absolutely. Homelessness is a situation that can impact anyone at any time. None of us know when we're going to hit by a catastrophic situation which will rob us of our ability to pay our rent or mortgage. So that is why it is a social justice issue, and Interfaith Works is very proud to continue to serve the homeless in Montgomery County. And we all really have to stand together, as you had mentioned, Rob, and make sure that affordable housing as well is front and center in the issues that our future county executive will advocate for, because homelessness continues, and we have no chance of ending it indefinitely, as the county hopes, if affordable housing isn't increased in our county. So it's a major issue.
That's where we have to end. That's a great end. Thank you, Christine, and good luck with the work.
Thank you.
Hope you come back.
Thank you.
José Luis,
Yes, sir.
I love that red jacket.
Well, it's for a reason.
And what is that reason?
February is just around the corner, and you know, February is all about the heart and heart symbols, and so the medical community is taking advantage of that symbolism and bringing about the conversation about heart health. And I'll give you some numbers. Annually, 1 in 3 deaths among women can be attributed to heart disease or stroke. 1 in 3.
1 in 3 women.
Yes.
Or 1 in 3 deaths in women. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes.
And that's more than all cancers combined. So that's a really high number, and it's a number that we can really affect, because we know that 80% of any cardiac events are preventable.
So why such a high number, high percentage within women?
Part of it is because we don't go to the doctor before we feel anything. So we don't know our bodies 100%.
Okay.
And there are 5 specific numbers that everyone, including men, should know to help you reduce the risks of having a heart event. And they are knowing your blood pressure, your cholesterol levels, your good cholesterol, your glucose levels, and your BMI. If you know those 5 numbers and you understand what they mean to your specific body, you are reducing the risks of having a heart event.
And I know what BMI means, but you're going to share with us what BMI means.
It's body mass index, and it's the relationship of your height with your weight.
Okay.
And it helps you determine whether we are overweight or not, and at what level that is.
So how do you get the word out about these things? I mean, those are great ideas. I mean, great concepts that we all should understand.
Absolutely. Well, the first thing that we encourage everyone in our community is that go see your primary care doctor. Have a conversation. Don't go to the doctor when you're not feeling well. Go when you're feeling well, so you understand what that means.
Right.
And so at CCI Health and Wellness Services, we're very well positioned to do that. We have 9 locations throughout Montgomery County and Prince George's County, and our operation is a patient-centered operation. So we use care coordination to make sure that we empower our patients in our communities to take action. It's one thing to receive a set of instructions and guidelines, and another to convert that into action steps that are going to make you be in charge. And a big part of getting to a healthy point is having the empowerment to do so.
How is the lower income population as well as the immigrant population? I mean, what are the challenges that they face in terms of kind of taking advantage of that? Are they afraid to go to see the doctors and things like that?
Yeah, we talked about earlier the importance of understanding the different cultural elements and biases that come into play. We have a very diverse population that we serve as CCI Health and Wellness Services. Word of mouth is really what's helped us sort of become a resource in the community in the last 45 years. And one of the things that we do is understand what are those cultural biases that are going to prevent somebody from doing the right thing or getting the information at the right time. And those are some of the elements that we make sure we embrace and we do. And we raise awareness. Next Friday is Wear Red, National Wear Red Day, and is a day that has been observed for the last 16 years. And you wear red just so you can have an opportunity to talk about that. And everyone can have a heart healthy life given the tools, given the knowledge, and given the affirmation that you can do it, that you have the power to do it.
Just a little bit under 2 minutes. Let me just, other questions here, but are there unique challenges, not just in terms of getting the word out, but the unique challenges in the healthiness of especially newer immigrants coming into Montgomery County? Are there things, I mean, folks talking about access to medical attention here, coming in and volunteering, saying, I'm healthy, I need a checkup.
Right.
But what about places around the world where medical attention has not been so available? Are there special challenges that you all are facing to help bridge any gaps that people had?
When it comes to the newly immigrant resettled families in Montgomery County, which we have a lot of, one of the biggest challenges is nutrition. So understanding how do you have a healthy life, and how do you change your cultural dishes so they are heart healthy. And so we use registered dietitians that can help these families understand what are the substitutions that you can put in place. There's elements that we can change, like our family history, our heritage, and some other things that we can change that, but we can change those 5 numbers through healthy eating, being physically active, and reducing the levels of stress and sleeping enough hours during the day. So those are things that we do on a regular basis.
That's the last word, unfortunately. We've got to sign out. That's great. And I want to say everything is great here. You all are fantastic. And what you brought here and the work that you're doing is helping our community so much every day. I want to thank all of you in the viewing audience as well for joining us for this week's edition of Montgomery Week in Review. I'm Don Mooers, inviting you to join us next week at this very same time.